Welcome to Escaping Purgatory, a podcast where we rewatch Supernatural, then talk it through in the hopes that we can finally escape this show.
Join us each week and leave comments on upcoming episodes, and together we can escape Supernatural Purgatory.
Well, hello.
Hey. So apparently we've been saying purgatory wrong. It was like corrected in this episode because they say purgatory in this country.
Well, they can be wrong.
Yep.
I beg to differ. As somebody descended from the Romans in our home country, I say it's purgatory. It's fine. We speak the Latin.
To be fair,
Yeah.
Mark Sheppard also says purgatory because he's English.
Yeah.
So,
and correct about everything all of the time. So
all the time.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm just thinking back because I finished the episode like about an hour before we started recording, or this episode, but like 20 minutes before we started catching up and talking, and there was just something about like the last scene where it's Crowley, Sam, Dean, and Samuel.
Yeah.
And Gwen's been sent off, and there's just like these four men who've all got these growly voices, which I'm pretty sure Sam and Dean and Samuel are all putting on.
Yeah.
But Mark Sheppard's the only one who's naturally like that. And I was just like, they're all trying to be Mark Sheppard.
They are. Like, he is the proper, like, yeah. Like, almost like East London, like, yeah. I don't know. I'm not actually sure what Mark Sheppard's, like, regional accent is. But, like, yeah. You can tell they all instinctively lower their voice around it.
It's so funny because like he's literally looking up at everybody because they're all way taller than he is.
Oh,
it's just like
it's so good. Yeah.
So anyway, the episode that we're talking about is season 6, episode 7, Family Matters, and it's written by Andrew Dabb and Daniel Laughlin, and directed by Guy B. I love that name. That's an amazing name.
Guy B.
I'm a Guy B. I'm sorry, we shouldn't make fun of people's names, but it's also very cool, so it's fine. And this episode, like you said before we started recording, very wordy, very exposition-y. And not much happens.
No, like, surprisingly not a lot happens, but a lot does get revealed, I guess. And, like, I don't know. It's almost... They're just explaining to you what the rest of the season's going to be.
Yeah, it's definitely that feeling. And the thing that usually happens in Supernatural that, you know, I wanted more from the plot point of, like, Sam having not a soul and like all of that stuff, like with all Veritas's whatever of last week. Like the one thing that I was clinging on to make sure, like, to make that episode count gets resolved in 2 minutes. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's Supernatural.
Oh my God.
They set up like a really juicy plot point and then like, it's like, oh yeah, but it's fine.
We're just going to move past it.
I always think about Demon Dean. And it's like, oh my God, that was such a good end of a season. Everyone was speculating, like, what's going to happen? It was resolved within, like, 2 episodes.
I know. It was so bad. Ugh, I'm not looking forward to that coming back because I'm just going to be so annoyed. But anyway, it is what it is. Supernatural. They have to get through it, I suppose, to get where they need to be. But, so it was just not much happens and lots of people talking.
It is a lot of people talking. Yeah. And like all the action kind of happens off camera, a lot of it. There's some bits that happen and you're like, yeah, that's cool. But a lot of the like vampire killing happens off camera in this episode too.
Yeah, it does. You get one like horror movie moment and that's about it.
Yeah. So yeah, it didn't make a lasting impression on me. I think I'll say that. But I mean, to be fair, like I said, it is a lot of like setting up for the rest of the season. But I feel like we've been saying that for the last like 5 episodes. This is what, episode 6?
7.
And we're still setting up like plot at this point. I don't know.
Well, are we setting up plot, or are we like revealing like the next steps of the plot? So we kind of had the beginning.
Yeah.
Like this is like the post beginning. I don't know what that's called in the actual
middle.
writing, but it's not the middle, because it's like you need to work with the fact that now you know Sam's soulless, now that you know, like, now you know what Samuel's goal is, now you know who Samuel's working for, like it's, I guess, no, you're right, it is actually it's still the setup, it's the tail end of the setup that they can then kind of launch into.
Maybe that's it. Maybe we've reached the end of the prequel of the season, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, these seasons are 22 episodes long,
true.
so there is time technically.
Yeah.
So, but even still,
it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I did realize. I don't know how to talk about the episode yet. Sorry, but I did realize while I was watching this that I think. I know you really actually do like the alphas. I don't feel like this is my favourite plot point of Supernatural. I don't get it. Like, I feel like the monsters are interesting enough without there being like alphas.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like more badass. They're Dragon Ball Z, isn't it?
You're right.
And like it's an anime thing where it's like, and Supernatural is actually very guilty of this because they end up punching God. So like, yeah, it is very anime, and like we got too powerful to beat the like simple monsters, so now we have to create a more leveled up monster that we have to then level up to beat. And then once that happens, the monsters will level up, and then we have to level up to beat them. It's just a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, but I do feel like the concept of an alpha something is not outside of the realm of possibilities. I mean, maybe not across all monsters.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like it kind of makes sense with vampires and werewolves, and that's kind of it. Just because of like Dracula, right?
I think, yeah, and I think with the kind of introduction of Eve, spoilers later on, it does make sense that this kind of mother of monsters thing is a biblical reference, I feel. So yeah, I'm kind of not mad about the mythology of it. I just feel like it did kind of, and it does also get us to Purgatory, which is my favorite arc. So it's like, how mad should I be at it? Like, not really. It just feels kind of like, I think I'm mourning for the days of season 1 to 5.
Already? We're already on season, like,
I know.
Not even partway through.
I miss classic Supernatural a little bit. I don't know why. This season's making me miss it slightly, but I feel like we're just in that transitional phase of going from old Supernatural to new Supernatural, and I find change hard as a person.
And I guess this is also where things start to get, get more convoluted.
They do.
But they kind of were a little bit in seasons 1 through 5, especially the last like 4 and 5. It got a little wackadoo in there for a little bit.
I mean, it's true.
Like,
have you ever tried to explain the plot of Supernatural to someone who's never watched the show?
No. No. That sounds like a daunting task.
Yeah, you need a PowerPoint presentation, like.
and red string.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not mad at this episode though. I think let's do it. And there are definitely little bits in here that are really good. So
yeah,
it's all gravy.
Definitely. All right, so we start with the road so far, or then whatever you want to call it, and it's the recap. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah,
I don't know why it took me so long to get there. And it's the introduction of. It was kind of a mess. It was like all over the place, but it's like going back to 605, talking about the vampires, and then introducing Samuel.
Yeah.
Then there's bits of Sam letting Dean get turned into a vampire. Cass not knowing what's up with Sam. Yeah. And then their whole like, I don't know if I can trust you. And then Veritas saying, you're not human. And then Sam trying to talk his way out of it and then getting punched in the face.
Yes. Yeah. So we ended the last episode with like Dean punching Sam a lot.
A lot.
We talked about that at length, I feel. But yeah, it's still quite shocking. So in kind of, I guess, unusual fashion for Supernatural, this episode goes like straight into that.
It does.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, you go ahead. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So you hear this like noise, and then for the first time in a long time, and this is the same shot as when Dean woke up in the first episode, where we're seeing Sam from Sam's perspective as he opens his eyes and it's like all groggy and stuff, and Cass is like, you're right, he looks terrible. And I love the way that Cass like turns and looks to him, to Dean, and says, you did this? Like, you beat your brother to a pulp. But I do feel like in the last episode he looked worse. Like they kind of lessened the makeup in this one.
Yeah, I feel that too, actually.
And Cass is asking like he's really, I don't know, the way he's asking these questions felt like a first time doctor or something. Like, have you been feverish? Is he speaking in tongues? Are you speaking in tongues? I don't know. There's just something. The way Sam's like, what? No, are you diagnosing me? Like, what's going on? I love Dean's line here.
Think that there's a clinic out there for people who just pop out of hell wrong? He asks, you answer, then you shut your hole. You got it?
Dean is not having it. He's not letting him like wiggle his way out of it.
But like, why is he mad at Sam? I get it, but like, why is he mad at Sam? Like, he should be mad at the situation, but he's specifically mad at Sam. Like, he should have tried harder to come back from hell, right? Like,
yeah, but he still doesn't know what Sam is, right? At this point, he probably still thinks he's a doppelganger or some sort of something or other.
Yeah, that's true.
Because all we know is that Veritas says, you're not human, you can't do this, like blah, 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 blah. So that's, he has a hostility towards a monster right now.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Cass asks what Sam's feeling, and Sam goes on to explain like physical ailments.
How do you feel?
I think...
Feel.
I don't know.
Cass looks to Dean, I guess. I don't really remember, but he just says, this is going to be unpleasant, or this will be unpleasant. Oh, no. He takes his belt off. And the way that Sam's like, what's going on? Why is this happening? And he's like, puts the belt in his mouth and says, bite down on this. And if there's somewhere place you can find soothing, you should go there in your mind. And Cass shoves his hand into his soul body.
Soul body?
I don't know. Like, his internal, it's like not really internal because it's not.
It's like
physical.
under the rib
It's
cage, like solar plexus style, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's where he fists.
But it's all like belts and fisting. Oh, hello. And Dean asks, did you find anything? Cass says no, and Dean asks, is that a good thing? And it's not. He's perfectly healthy, but his soul is gone. I love this, like, I'm sorry, one more time, like I'm 5.
Yeah, that's so true.
That's great. And
so there's a sense Cass put Sam through like excruciating agony because he's like, just to confirm what he thinks he already knows. Yeah.
But how else would he do that though, right?
Like, you're right, but there's no like conversation. It's just, I find Cass difficult in this season because like he knows there's something up with Sam and he suspects he knows what it is, and this is just him confirming it. But like there's no like lead up to it. There's no explaining of like, I think this is what's wrong with him, and then they test it. I don't know. He's just a sneaky old dude sneaking around.
It's funny that you say sneaking because like there was so much of that in this
So
episode.
much sneaking.
physically. And I just kept thinking of Smeagol. Anyway, yeah, it's an interesting point, but like, I don't know.
And like,
Can you? I just can't imagine the conversation. Like, he knows Dean will react poorly. Let's just put it that way. So I can't imagine trying to even initiating a conversation like that. So he's probably just like, you know what? I don't want to deal with that. Let me just sneak.
he's just so like the next few bits of conversation he has, he like so nearly gives himself away. Like the way that it's worded is like he only someone who knew what went down would know some of this stuff, or like, but the way he phrases it is as a hypothetical still. He is very clever about lying, obviously, until he's not in this season. But like, right. I don't know. I think on a rewatch, it's much better because you're like, Cash, you bastard.
Yeah, you're right, definitely. And now that I know, like, so had you not pointed it out or told me what he did, I would still be like ignorant to it all.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm glad you pointed it out because it is way more interesting, like knowing that he knows what he did, versus like finding out along with Sam and Dean. Like I kind of wish that you would have seen that somehow, as an audience member.
But then like that episode where you find it out is just so good because I was like,
true, yeah. Okay, fair enough. So Cass says that he guesses that his soul's still in the cage with Michael and Lucifer. Adam is obviously forgotten. So Dean's just like, well, go get him back.
Yeah.
Like, you did it for me. And Cass points out,
It took several angels to rescue you, and you weren't nearly as well guarded. Sam's soul is in Lucifer's cage. There's a difference, a big difference. It's not possible.
and then, like, Sam's trying to convince them, saying like, you know, he's not some psycho. I didn't want you to get hurt. I was just trying to stop the vampires. He's saying like, it's okay, you know, I get it. I was wrong. And I'm telling you, I'm trying to get it right, but it's still me. And then he has this like Superman moment. You've seen Man of Steel, right?
Yeah.
Where he like, Henry Cavill as Superman just like breaks the handcuffs.
Yeah.
He does the same thing with the rope. He just like, I didn't want to do this. And like just stands up and like flicks the rope off. And he's like, you know, there's no way you can hold me if you put me in the panic room, not anywhere. I'm like, look, bucko, there's an angel. Of course they can do anything to you. You don't think they can put you in the freaking green room and you're never going to get out? Like, come on.
Why is Sam strong? I don't understand why he's stronger as a soul. I don't understand why that relates to him not having a soul.
I'm like, you're soulless. You're not superhuman.
And it's never mentioned that he like loses his super strength after getting his soul back or whatever. Like, why is that? And no one else, as far as I remember, who loses their soul suddenly gains like super. What is this?
No, the only thing which I didn't mention is that, you know, he doesn't sleep. That's the only thing that's mentioned when he doesn't have a soul. For the past year and a bit, he hasn't slept.
Yeah, so I guess there is something like, I guess there must be physical changes to his body then. Maybe it's just because he's been like working out loads, you know, doing those like pull-ups.
It could be.
Because
that's what it is.
All those times he doesn't sleep, he's been working on that upper body strength.
Just upper body, nothing else.
Just upper body, no leg day. No leg day for Sam.
No leg day. Oh, it was so stupid. Like, this was like a male fantasy moment, surely. Like, that you can just like undo the bonds and you can just like stand up, roll your shoulders and be like, ugh,
I'm released.
You can't hold me.
I'm no damsel in distress. I release myself.
Exactly. Because I'm sure like that was really difficult to, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. I guess maybe because he doesn't have a soul, he's just more focused. So maybe he could fight. I still don't think he'd get out of the panic room. I'm sorry, but like Sam, the hubris is real. Like honestly, I want to see him try. I want to see it. Put him in.
And so the only reason why he got out of the panic room back in season 4 was because Cass let him out.
But he was weak because of the demon blood withdrawal. So maybe if he was at full strength with no soul, he could like pick out a screw. I don't know. But he fully feels like he could though. He's like, yeah, I could.
Maybe it's because he has no moral compass that he's like, I'll punch out Bobby and it'll be fine. Like I can just, I don't know.
That's
when
true.
you come to feed me.
Tricksy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, if you're racked up, you're not getting out.
Still wild. Bless him.
Anyway, you can't break metal, Sam. You're still human.
You are still human. Surely. I mean, to be fair, Cass was like questioning that. They were like, well, who's he Sam? And they were like, well, kinda. Like, are you yourself without your soul? I don't know.
And they don't really ever answer this question in this.
No.
Which they could have, but...
I feel like it's in Kingdom Hearts where you get a heartless and a nobody, and Sam is the nobody. That is a reference.
He was his heart. Yeah, I know, right? I was like, whoa. God, when was the last time I played Kingdom Hearts? Yeah, no, but you're not wrong.
Yeah, or the other way around.
I'm just wondering who hit.
Or I guess he'd be a heartless, but actually in the realm of Kingdom Hearts, I think the nobody makes more sense because they've had the thing taken, right?
Yeah.
Getting deep into that Kingdom Hearts lore.
Well, so I think there's actually 3 parts. We don't actually ever see the Heartless of Sam.
That's true. I mean,
because like there's Sora but Sora just sleeps. That's the problem, though, isn't it?
Yeah, sleepy
When
Sora.
Roxas. So yeah, he's the nobody.
Yeah.
Sam's the nobody right now.
If you put Sam's soul in someone else's body, would they be Sam? And then there'd be 2 Sams.
Well, yeah, kind of, because he'd be a demon possession, right?
Yeah. Why didn't that happen? I want to see, like, Cass taking
Original
on...
Meg.
Yeah. I was going to say, I want to see Cass, like, taking on Sam's soul for, like, safekeeping and having to be Sam for a bit. That would be good. Why didn't we see that?
I know. We've said this a few times that we didn't get enough body swapping between the 3 of them.
Not enough body swapping. Come on. Like, it was there to be written. Like, it was there.
I bet you anything is because in the writer's room, they're like, if we do this, we're never going to be able to film it. It's going to be a super expensive episode because they would just be messing around the entire time.
So true. Like, yeah. They could have done it. They could have done it. It would have been hilarious. I would have loved it.
The
outtakes alone.
It is. I know. Right, that's it. That's the only ones you get just for them from that episode. And then Dean just gives in. So this is what I was saying. Like, this scene is basically everything that is the conclusion of the last episode.
Yeah.
Dean just accepts that he's Sam, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he's technically not a monster, so okay.
Yeah.
And he just sort of turns to Cass and is like, clean him up, and then he does this, like, I love this transition because it looks as if he gets hurt as he's getting healed, which is really interesting because that usually never happen. Mm-hmm. But like he looks down and is like, oh, shaking his head. He looks up and he's like, oh. Like he got more of a reaction of like getting healed than when his lungs were taken away.
Yeah, it's so true.
And then it goes to the title screen.
Yeah. You're right, it's an interesting one because Dean's just like, okay, I guess my brother's soulless now, let's carry on.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just look after his body until we can figure this out. So yeah, Dean goes into this whole, like, he does start going into problem solving mode, and he's like, well, we got to find who yanked you out. And, you know, it can't be hard to make a list because, like, who has that kind of power? Cass then asks Sam, like, you have no memory of your resurrection? Leading question much, Cass. Mm-hmm. And Sam says, I woke up in a field. That's all I got. Again, like, Cass is sort of recreating Dean's resurrection, just dumped him in a field. So he said, I can't believe he he just dumped him in a field somewhere. Like, I'm sorry. I can't get over this. It's going to be all season of
Well, we know that Cass doesn't really like Sam at this point. Then they haven't got their like bestie status yet.
He's just like, that'll do. I'm off. Good luck, Sam.
I wonder if it was even close to like Bobby or something.
I don't know. Like, honestly. Oh, man. Like, the lack of care, Cass. Dean's like, we have no clues, and Sam says, oh, I've got one. So they go to the Campbell compound, and there's like stuff going on there. They have this whole back and forth between like their cousins in finding Samuel first, which is just sort of highlighting the tension between them all, with like they're just being like crappy to each other essentially. And they go in to see Samuel in his office, and he says, this is Castiel, you're scrawler than I pictured. And Cass says the line of,
This is a vessel. My true form is approximately the size of your Chrysler building.
Dean's like, all right, quit bragging. Put him away, boys. And so he's asking Samuel, like, you were dead. What happened? So Samuel turned up at Elton Ridge, so I guess also in a field. And they ask if Cass can check if he has a soul. And so he does the thing, and we hear him like screaming from outside. And obviously the cousins come in and like, what the hell is going on? Like Samuel's like, man screaming. When they ask what's wrong, Dean says angel cavity search. My dude.
Great. Yeah.
And Samuel like convinces them that it's fine, and they close the door again. So Cass finds out that Samuel does have a soul and it's fine. So it's just Sam, so whatever took him out of hell left a piece behind. And like, I guess the idea is that because Sam was in the cage, you know, it was harder to free him, so it's much easier to leave something behind. I think that is what turns out to have happened as well.
And also you're trying to fight Lucifer for it, right?
Yeah, he's like, my Sammy.
Yes, exactly.
So Sam asks Sam, do you know what? I kind of hate that they're called Sam and Samuel. This is so annoying. It's fine. Sam asked Gramps if he knew that his soul was missing. But Samuel says like, well, no, but like clearly something is off. Like, obviously. You're a really good hunter, but you scare me. And then Samuel also just accepts this fact. He's like, okay, what do we do?
Yeah.
Fine. I guess it's not a big leap to be like, oh, I was in heaven and I've been pulled back to earth, so souls must exist. You know, it's like, it's not that big a deal, presumably. Fine.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like everybody's too accepting too quickly.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to Sam being like tied to a chair? He's now just walking free.
Yeah. No, it's fine. He's soulless. It's not going to be a problem. We don't know what the full implications of that might be or how he might suddenly act, but we're just going to let him walk around. It's fine. Don't worry. Don't think about it too much. So Samuel says, like, fine, I'm here to help you. What leads you working? They're like, well, we got nothing. There's nothing going on. And Cass is like, okay, well, if everything's good, I'm going to leave. And Dean's a bit pissed off, but Cass says like, look, I'm in the middle of a civil war at the moment.
You better tear the attic up, find something to help Sam.
Of course. Your problems always come first.
I love that line. Oh my god. It was so good.
The girlies are fighting.
Yeah.
And he leaves. It's just like, I'm out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was cutting.
It was. Yeah.
And so yeah, that's the end of that bit of storyline.
Everyone's accepted that Sam is soulless. He's still Sam, but he is soulless. And like, I guess it's all forgiven, all the stuff he did.
They got bigger fish to fry in this episode, Annabelle. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just don't think about it too much.
I think that's the thing that annoyed me about this episode, that it's just like, telling me no to think about it. I'll do what I want. I'll think about it all the time. Thank you very much.
Think about the whole time. Sam doesn't have a soul. He doesn't have a soul. He must be wearing a t-shirt that says, I don't have a soul. Watch me do pull-ups. Sorry, that's a gag over.
Don't tell us anything about why that's a bad thing, apart from like, you know, having no moral compass, but that's about it, and not sleeping. Like, these are pretty much the only attributes that we can assign to him right now.
Like, why is he not dead? If you don't sleep, you die. Why is he not dead?
Because he doesn't have a soul, so he can't die.
Is that true though? Like, can he not die? I mean, like, you know, that could be a thing. We don't know that. Watching this episode for the first time, you're like, well, maybe Sam can't die.
Yeah, and also the thing that the vampire says of like wanting to turn him into, you know, this ultimate hunting machine because he'd be a vampire.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that means
What does that
vampires do have souls, just saying. They have to, because
Well, yeah, because they go to purgatory.
that's so true. Okay. Anyway, so Samuel is like, well, I would have asked Cass to stick around. And Dean changes the subject and says, like, there's a lot of guys standing around doing nothing outside because they're clearly planning a hunt or something. And it turns out, because Sam knows that they've got a lead on the alpha vampire. They really don't tell Dean much here, because Dean's like, how did you track him down? And Samuel says, we're good. Like, just we're good hunters. And that is all he gets.
Yep.
But they hadn't told Sam that they're going to go. They only found out because they've turned up at this moment. And Dean correctly says that they didn't tell Sam because they don't want Dean to go. They're excluding him from the hunting club because they don't trust him.
Didn't they want Dean to come back into hunting?
I don't know, like Samuel just like, and Dean rightly said like Samuel doesn't seem to trust him. I think they, maybe because they think his whole like heart isn't into hunting or something. But he's proven to be good every time they've hunted with, but I don't know. It's just, they're creating tension for tension's sake, I feel.
I think you're right.
And obviously they all love Sam because he's like a hunting machine. I feel like they should trust Sam less now. And like maybe
They
take
should.
Dean a bit more important. It's fine.
I mean, they after what Sam pulled in Live Free or Try Hard, like I would never and that's his brother.
Yeah.
And like their family connection things, you know, crazy out the wazoo. So of course you wouldn't trust Sam anymore. So that's probably, I kind of hate that they didn't, like Samuel didn't correct Dean in this and being like, well, no, I didn't want Sam because I don't want Sam. I mean, we get that confirmation in this episode, like a little bit later on. So I guess we get that line, but like, I don't know, I guess for storytelling, fine. Like we need to think that it's Dean with the problem because there's already like Dean and Christian don't get along at all, which again is probably because he knows he's a demon. Like he has a sixth sense.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think of that. That's good. Yeah, sixth demon sense. Like you think that Dean would have gone up in Samuel's estimation after being turned into a vampire and having the willpower to go into like a vamp den and like kill them all and not drink any blood the whole time. Like, come on.
Yep.
Like, he's a badass hunter too.
How many hunters has he seen go from being turned into a monster into a person?
Yeah, exactly.
And then like pick himself up and go do it again the next day. Like that didn't take a rest day.
Exactly. It's yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why he didn't like get more respect from them after that fact, but it's fine. I've just been very protective of Dean. Like, stop hurting my boy.
Yeah. Especially since it's a parental figure. Like he never gets that from a
He's just
apart from
johnning him all over
Bobby.
again of like, you're not good enough. Yeah.
Exactly. Sam has always been way better than you.
Oh, you're so right. Samuel does say that that's not true, but like it is. And Dean's like, well, we'll come in then. If that's not true, we're coming then.
Yeah, we're here.
Put your money where your mouth
Tell
is.
us not to go.
Yeah. So Samuel just says like, it's just like, it's not that I don't trust you. Like, I don't know you, not like I know Sam. Because I guess they've been together for a year, but I still don't feel like it's going to... Fine. We said our bit on that.
You called the place. 100%. I'm here to listen.
Since when?
Big Daddy Bloodsucker. I ain't gonna miss that.
So as soon as they're outside, Dean turns to Sam's like, I don't trust them. Why is he trusting Sam with... I mean, I guess this is almost like reflex of like, I'm just going to tell Sam what I'm thinking because he's here.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. He's like, I can feel there's something off. Like, if you weren't Robo Sam, you'd feel it too. And Sam's confused. He's like, well, you don't trust family. And Dean's just like, well, no, you know, I think everything's connected. Like Samuel with this whole soul thing, the alpha vampires, all of it.
It's very much the sentiment of like, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Yeah, exactly. So Dean kind of like breaks back into the compound to go look around Samuel's desk. Is that right?
No, they go back into like a workroom to start help. Like Sam sits down and starts helping them, like because they're filling up syringes with dead man's blood. They're getting all stuff ready to fight these vampires, and Sam sits down and starts to do stuff, and then Dean goes to break into Samuel's office.
Yeah, that's right. I couldn't remember because it all looks the same.
So you're right. Actually, this whole bit and like the warehouse with the alpha, they could be like around the corner from each other, like in the same spot.
It probably is, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
So Christian confronts Dean in Samuel's office once he's like broken in, and you know, Dean's playing it cool, like, oh, I had to make a phone call, etc. And Christian's like, oh, in Samuel's locked office. And when Christian asks who's calling, he's like, oh, it's your wife. Like, I was going to let her know I'm not going to make it tonight. He's such a dick. And so they had this, again, like, confrontation. They're sort of just hashing it out. Christian eventually says, like, look, I'm the guy who's here. I've been doing my job. Like, who are you? We think you think we need you. He's just laying into all of Dean's insecurities, essentially.
You walk around like you're playing pro tennis. Only action you've seen lately is between your slut girlfriend's legs.
I think Dean punches him right in the face.
No, he doesn't punch him. He like grabs him by the collar and like pushes him
That's
into the
right.
wall.
I imagine the punch. There's a lot of punches during this episode. So yeah, they're having this
verbal ones for sure.
Definitely. They're having this like scuffle, and Christian threatens him. He's like, "You sure you want to come with us tomorrow? Because accidents happen." And he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I've got your back." It's just ridiculous. Like it's loads of like dick swinging,
puffing up your chest.
Yeah.
If they were peacocks, their tails would be massive right now.
Their little wings out like.
Yeah, exactly.
You couldn't see what I was doing there, but trust me, it was a really good impression of a bird.
It was spot on, absolutely spot on. So it's the next morning, and they're in the wilderness somewhere, and Samuel's divvying up tasks, and they're going to go different directions, and Dean and Gwen are going to hang back and get any runners. Dean kind of makes a face, and Samuel calls him out, and he says, "No, sir." And Gwen's reaction is like, "I'm in the rear with the rejects." And this is like, oh, wow. Tell us how you really feel.
Exactly.
And then Sam like tries to console him. So I guess the issue I'm having, right, is that Sam acts one way and then acts another way, and the writing of Sam is not consistent. Like, because Sam comes up to Dean to like kind of reassure him, or like find out what he's thinking. But sometimes we'll see him do stuff like in the vampire episode, you know, where he's cruel, you know. And I'm just like, and then in the last episode where Sam knew that he had to lie to Sam Sam knew that he had to lie to Dean
Yeah.
to convince him that, you know, the curse was working. That takes a lot of like, he's trying to manipulate him. But I'm like, is he always trying to manipulate him? And is Dean really okay with that? Like, I don't know. It's definitely too much to think about, but it's running in my mind of like, is everything an act?
I think it is. I do. I honestly think it is. Like the bit, I think where in the Veritas episode where Sam like drops the act and like explains it, I think that's a real Sam at this time. Like that's a real soulless Sam. Before he started like to be like, it's fine, it's me. Like that whole, the facial expression, everything.
Right.
I just feel like he's constantly like, yeah, putting on an act of what he thinks people want from him at the time.
I guess so, because I guess his baseline, because we saw it at the beginning of this episode actually, where Cass was asking him how he feels. He was trying to gauge what they were asking, and then when he couldn't get there, he was like, "Well, I don't feel anything."
Yeah.
So that is probably the problem, isn't it? Like he just doesn't feel anything. So like, it all has to be an act.
Yeah,
There's no
and
way to
I really believe
be.
that. Like all of this is an
Yeah.
act. Like any like hint of emotion from Sam is an act while he's soulless. Yeah.
No. So everybody else goes off, and is a little bit later, and Gwen and Dean are patrolling an area of the forest, and Gwen sort of apologizes for the reject thing, and Dean's like, "Don't worry, I've been called worse," and Gwen's kind of trying to rationalize like that, you know, she's tired of being left behind. And she surmises that's because she reminds Samuel of Mary. And I'm like, are you though? Because Mary didn't want to be a hunter.
Yeah.
She wanted to get out. Like, maybe they're anyway. But then, so they hear this branch snapping and they pull out their like machetes and start fighting this vamp, and he gets the upper hand on Dean, and you see this blood splatter across Dean's face, and Gwen's just like, "You're welcome." And I'm like, yeah, that is kind of Mary when she comes back, but at the same time, not really. Like, I don't know.
It's just so early 2000s. Like, well, it's not even early 2000s anymore. It's just like 2010 feminism. Like, I'm just like the guys. I can do things just as well as they can. Like, I don't know, which is good, but also like it's ham-fisted.
It's just, yes, ham-fisted. Yes, the word. Yeah, definitely. You then hear grunts and gunshots in the background, and Dean runs off, and Gwen calls after Dean, saying that they're supposed to wait here. And then we hear like screaming, and as Dean looks through this gate, he sees like a mixture of dead hunters and dead vampires, because the vampires have no head, the hunters are just there on the ground. He then sees this window of this like quite young looking hunter who's like banging on the window, and suddenly she gets like sucked away. Very, very horror movie esque. You then hear this sort of faint talking, and it sounds like Sam and Samuel. And Dean follows the sound and sees that they're putting the alpha into the back of a van, and Samuel's like, just telling him to like get on with it. And we see Sam as well putting that, like getting all of that together, which I don't know at what point Sam was clued into what they were doing, because I don't think the Jin episode, like the first episode of the season, I don't think he was part of it at that point.
No,
but I'm not sure.
I think from the point of the live free and try hard, that kind of stuff, like I think he was properly clued in then, from my perspective. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Just in time, Dean gets back to Gwen as everybody comes back, and Samuel asked if there was any problems, and they said no, there was just one runner.
Where is it? I want to pay my last respects.
Well, bring marshmallows. Already on the pyre.
Dean makes a face at that. It's then nighttime as they're driving away. I don't know where they've been driving all day, but anyway, because it was first thing in the morning and now it's night. Okay. supernatural times. It had to be dramatic, so it had to be at night. And Dean asks, things go okay back there, and Sam says fine, nothing weird. And Sam sort of like shakes his head, says sort of no. And Dean's had enough. He just veers off the road and it's just like gets out of the car and he's like, I saw you walk the vampire out of there. Like,
Now, call me crazy, but that seems weird. Oh.
I love this, like, oh, like, that's all you're gonna say. And Sam's like, we weren't supposed to know about that.
Oh my god. He's also a bit like, it's almost like Sam's a bit naive, I guess. Soulless, like, well, I was told not to tell you that, so I didn't tell you that. Like, doesn't understand why Dean's upset.
Yeah, that's true. But okay, I was gonna say, but didn't they say what their plan was in Live Free or Die Hard? But no, they didn't. They just wanted to get to the Alpha, presumably to kill it, not to capture it. And Sam then goes on to say that, this is something Samuel's been doing, catching things, taking them somewhere, grilling them for information. And Dean's like, grill, torture, right? And not telling me that was his idea. And Sam says, no, it was mine.
Okay, I was wrong then. Like, I was like, they told him not to tell him, but no, it makes sense that Sam was like, don't tell me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Honestly? Because you'd mess it up. You shoot first, ask questions later, and we needed to ask questions.
Sam's not wrong. Dean, not about like shooting first and asking questions, but Dean is very emotional when it comes to monsters.
Yeah.
So, yes, when this whole Alpha situation, he wanted to kill them.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't want to know about anything else about, like, the information that you could glean from an Alpha is actually quite a lot, I would imagine, beyond what they're trying to find, but, like, just in general, like, how it all works. Yeah. And, but Dean just wants to kill it straight away. Like, it's a monster, like, whatever.
Yeah, you're not wrong, actually. Like, and I think that is the problem with why Dean doesn't like this, is because it's true. He likes to think that he'd be better than that. But also, as we know, Dean's he's not against, this sounds awful, he's not against torture, but it makes him uncomfortable to know that it's happening, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because of his time in hell and the way that's been used against him as well when he's come back out with, like, Alistair and everything, etc.
Right. Nothing ever good comes of torture.
It's like, it's a bad idea unless it's Dean's idea.
And that's not good. That's not good. Like, yeah. So Dean, like, he says, I don't care if you're soulless. Well, you should. Or have the freaking mumps. You know better than this. Like, and he confronts him and says, do you even want your soul back? He doesn't really give Sam the opportunity to answer that question, because he just sort of railroads that and says, have you been to the place where Samuel takes them? Have you been in the interrogations? Sam says no. And again, Dean is on a soapbox here. Very much. Which I guess is from John. Like, you shouldn't just, like, let people dictate how things should go, I guess, because of everything that John did. I guess Dean has learned something that he shouldn't just follow orders with no pushback. But there you go.
I like the line that he says that he's like, you can't assume that family means the same thing to him as it does to us. Like, he's not dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love how frustrated Dean is at this. He's like,
You've got no instinct. I mean, you are seriously messed up.
Thanks.
I'm not kidding, man.
He tells him, no one's forcing you to be here. If we do this, I drive the bus, I call the shots, you do everything I tell you to do, because you can't tell the difference. And if you don't like that, then you can go with Samuel. and see how far that gets you. We then go back into Samuel's office. Sam's there. He just walks in, and Samuel's like, none of you like to knock, do you?
So true.
And Samuel asks where Dean is, and Sam says he's gone. He left an hour ago. We weren't seeing eye to eye anymore. And Sam wants in. He wants in the interrogations on everything. You know, I can help. This family is it for me now. Whatever you need, I'll do. And Samuel just says, well, that's great, but until we figured out your soul business, like, I need you to keep doing what you're doing. I had an issue with this whole little bit, because this was one of the points that I was saying before. I don't think I re-recorded that part, but there were things that happened in this episode that got immediately changed. So the last, like, end of the last scene and this scene, they were sort of building sympathy for Sam.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't want to feel sympathy for Sam because Sam is an asshole. Like, he let his brother get turned. Yeah, he knew there was a cure, but like that is kind of unforgivable. And I don't really feel like he gets forgiven for it. But then other things, like, they each do really horrible things to each other as the seasons go on. So like, it's a game of like, who can be worse to each other.
This season particularly, it's who is the worst brother. Like, it does feel like a competition. Because, Sam let Dean be turned, and then Dean beat Sam to a pulp before letting, like, his pet angel, like, fist his non-soul. So, like, there's some lines being crossed here. But yeah.
Yeah. So, like, but then when, like, the next scene, it was all part of a plan. And I'm just like, well, why are you trying to build sympathy for? Like, you have, because Sam is acting butthurt when Dean's like, you know, again, problem with being soulless and like not clarifying what that means in terms of supernatural. Like, it's an act that so from our definition, I guess, he's putting on an act of being upset that Dean is rejecting him because he has no instinct, whatever. But then he goes to Samuel, and Samuel rejects him, and you're supposed to feel sympathy for that. But like, no, like, I don't want to feel sympathy for him because he's not a good guy.
No, I mean, obviously this turns out to be like a plan or whatever, but it feels like Sam's just going where the like flow of life takes him as a soulless guy, you know. He doesn't really have like an ultimate ambition towards anything. But I guess that's part of feeling their emotion. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, the thing is, soulless Sam for me is just such a non-character, like, because none of his intentions are correct. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing or why he's doing it. He's just floating along until they go and find his soul again.
But apparently he can plan ahead.
Yeah. But he's not even planning this, though, because Dean is like, do what I say, and then this is what Dean was planning. So, you know.
Well, no, because Sam breaks into a van and looks at a phone and gets the GPS coordinates of the phone. That's true. So that wasn't part of any plan. So he's, I guess, I don't know. Maybe there was a vague plan of like, so I guess so Dean makes up the plan, like the overall plan, and Sam makes the like minutiae of the plan, the micro steps to it to get it done. So I guess give him a task and Sam will get it done. So they needed to find a way to the Alpha. Well, he found it by breaking into his car and getting the thing.
He's like the Winter Soldier.
Hey, we were on DC. We weren't on Marvel.
It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I find Soulless Sam a hard character. I imagine that it was probably a really hard character for Jared to play as well, because how are you acting soulless? Like, what does it mean?
Right, and especially like we said that there's no
framework for it, right?
There's no framework.
So it was just whatever he wanted it to be, which is fair enough, but like it's hard. And like it's always been hard. For example, I think to Star Trek and like Mr. Spock, right, was always supposed to be like an emotionless alien, and yet constantly they were showing that he had emotion. Because it's hard to play a character with no emotion.
Right, because you want characters to have emotion so you connect to them. It doesn't make sense to have a completely unrelatable character.
Yeah, exactly.
It becomes uninteresting.
Yeah. Which is why maybe I don't like Soulless Sam, but I don't think it's Soulless Sam's fault. Well, it is in the way that it's Castiel's fault that he brought him back wrong. Like that's why. I guess I'm dealing the situation. I'm mad at the situation, and my frustration is being let out on Sam. I understand it now. It's like, dude, just I don't know, just tell us what you mean. Anyway, sorry, continue.
So yeah, this is what I'm saying, that Sam says, so Samuel didn't take the bait, we'll go with plan B. Dean says, what's plan B? And that's when he tells him about the GPS. Sam magically finds the phone, look, whatever. Yeah, okay. They managed to...
No, so he says, because they're saying like when he noticed, and he's like, no, he thinks Velcro is big news. But this is such a geeky thing. I always think any kind of reference to Velcro is really funny in any TV series. This is so stupid, because in Star Trek Enterprise, they confirm that Vulcans went back in time and invented Velcro. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's it. That's my Star Trek fact of the day.
I love it.
Sorry.
So yeah, Sam pulls out his computer and beep boop beep beep and finds where the van's going, even though the van hasn't left yet because it's still in the parking lot. Whatever.
It's fine.
Whatever. I'm letting it go. Supernatural logic. It's fine.
Yeah. Got him. He says, got him, which I feel like is also a supernatural catchphrase at this point.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, they go to the warehouse, the generic warehouse where everyone keeps all their secrets.
Yep.
And they hear we hear like a buzz, 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 not bees, electricity. And Samuel is torturing the alpha vampire. He's like set him up in this like electric chair rig, and he's like putting jolts of electricity through him.
So, okay, in the transcript they missed a whole section.
Oh.
Where they sneak into. So this is where the sneaking came into this episode.
Oh, okay.
And they're like sneaking around, and Christian comes out of the room and goes, and they jump into a side room. And so the reason why I bring this up is because it's so funny, because Dean is just like hiding under a desk and Sam's just like behind a wall, and I'm just like, these two giants are just like can just hide so easily, and like Christian doesn't even care. Like he kind of gets a little bit like whatever, and then like carries on walking away, and I'm just like, it was so dumb. I was like, why? I mean, that's probably why they cut it out of the transcript here, because it did nothing. Like, it really added nothing. It was padding for the episode to get them where they needed to overhear the conversation between Samuel and the Alpha, which they're just sort of like, it's so conveniently placed where these like hiding places are.
It's like almost like a computer game. Like, you must stand here and you can hear the conversation that's going on, but you must stand exactly here. Yeah, I know what you mean. No, I do remember that. It's quite stupid. Them sneaking into anywhere is hilarious. We've had this conversation before when they were like,
so many times.
Like the elevator shaft is the peak of that. The peak.
Yes. And that was all the way in season 1, and they haven't gotten any better.
Haven't gotten any better. You think they'd wear better shoes, right? At least to sneak around in. Like, I don't know.
No.
Man.
And like, their genes are gonna do that like
Gene thing.
noise.
Yeah, exactly. Wearing she like black turtlenecks and like leggings. Where are they, guys?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so they overhear Samuel interrogating the alpha vamp and like, oh man, Rick Worthy, I missed you. You're so good in this role. I love you for this.
Yes.
He's just so unfazed. He's like,
Ouch, stop. That hurts.
and Samuel's trying to threaten him. It's like, oh, you know, this is only the beginning, blah, 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 blah.
I got all the time in the world. Well, that makes two of us.
This thing has been alive since the dawn of time, has probably been captured and tortured before, I'm sure. Like, literally can just wait it out.
Yeah.
It's like in the Sandman, you know, dream in the bubble. Like, who cares? It's a blink of a moment.
Yeah. And the fact that it doesn't hurt him either.
Yeah, exactly.
It's uncomfortable, but it's not like pain.
No, he's not bothered at all. And if it does hurt, he's not showing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Samuel leaves to go do torture things.
Sharpen his blades.
I don't know. Whatever Samuel does. And the alpha vampire is like, are you two going to hide all night? Like, I knew this was going to happen as soon as they were hiding and he was there. Like, it's so obvious.
Yeah, I mean, we know that they can smell, like, really well.
That's
so.
true. Yeah, and like, yeah. They are stanky. So he says, come on out, boys. How can I help you? Dean's obviously got some questions. And like the alpha vampire is laughing, like, come on, you just saw me being tortured and me not saying it. Like, what are you going to do?
You're right.
Dean says, you know, they've got you locked down pretty tight, all that dead man's blood rushing through your veins. We're not sure you've got enough psychic juice to fire up that psychic bat signal of yours, like, you know, to call the other vampires. And the alpha vampire says, true, not enough juice enough for that, Dean. Ooh, he knows his name. So it confirms that because Dean was once a vampire, like the alpha vampire knows him. He says, you were once my child for a time. He talks so much. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Dean says, I'm asking the questions here, Fright Night, which is an excellent reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, they zap him some more. He's all continues to be not bothered. And I really like this line that he says. It's like,
when your kind first huddled around the fire, I was the thing in the dark. Now you think you can hurt me?
anyways, I'm happy to tell you whatever you want to know. And Sam's like, why? And he's like, because I'll soon be sucking the marrow from your bones.
How threatening. Oh, but like it's said in such a elegant way.
Yeah, it's really hard for me because, like, having met Rick Worthy, I've probably seen Rick Worthy in person more than he's been on screen in Supernatural. Like, it's just, he's such a nice guy, and it's like watching him do this is like, nah. He does this really. I love his performance so much. So Sam asks him a question like, "Are you really the first of your species?" And he's like, "Yes, the first." And if you're the first, who made you? And the vampire says, we all have our mothers, even me. This is when I remembered that you're right about this Eve being in this season.
Do we ever learn his name? Or is he always just referred to as the alpha vampire?
No, I don't feel like they ever do say his name. I don't think he has a name.
It makes sense. If you're the first of your kind, like, you would have to name yourself.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever given a name. So Dean kind of asks, he doesn't follow up on that at all, he just laughs at them. Dean asks why there's so many new vampires lately, and the alpha vampire says, like, well, like we're going to war. And then Sam asks why Samuel brought him here. This is when, like, the alpha says, oh, you smell cold, you have no soul. Like, just automatically, like, can find that out.
Do you feel how empty you are? What is it like to have no soul?
Answer my question.
You first.
You're the one in the cage.
Then he sort of goes on without really them asking any more questions about, like, the thing about souls, if you've got one, is they're predictable. You die, you go up or down, but where do my kind go? And he says, no, I'm trying to answer the question, like, where do we go when we die? Like, not heaven, not hell, so... Dude says Legoland.
I mean, fair.
And then Sam finally says, like, purgatory. And he's like, it's real? Like, of course it is. Hell is real, Dean. Like, why are you surprised?
Yeah. I know. I feel like this would be the reaction in season 15 if they told him that the empty was real.
It's like, the reaction should be like, of course. Like, oh my God, of course. Why did we even think they wasn't real?
Yeah. And of course, who's going to go there first?
Yeah. Dean.
He goes to all the places first. He gets first dibs.
He does, you're right. He does go to all the places first.
Well, I'm pretty sure he went to heaven first, went to hell first.
Purgatory first.
Purgatory first. Never went to the empty, though.
No. He should have done, though. Yeah.
Rescues. I mean, he did. We just didn't see it.
That's season 16 in my mind. So the alpha goes on to explain what purgatory is. Like, it's filled with the soul of every hungry thing like me. Where is it? That's the mystery. And that's what your kind-hearted granddaddy is trying to beat out of me. So Samuel's trying to find out where purgatory is. This is a big plot point. Big. Remember that one.
I mean, you should kind of have guessed where this is going by the name of our podcast, but
it's fine if you didn't.
It's fine.
So the alpha vampire doesn't know where it is, and still Samuel tries to get it out of him, but, like, why would he know? And Sam's like, well, why does Samuel care? And the alpha says, well, he's just doing as he's told. So there's someone else working on this with him. Dean, this line, I love this line. He's like,
What if the old man's Kermit? Whose hands up his ass?
Great. Then Samuel rocks up with a gun. Dean's basically like, you are like, I've seen some stupid in my time. You take the biscuit, you put Jaws in a fishbowl. How do you think this is going to end? Like, he's clearly going to break out and kill everyone. Like, I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah, so this entire time that the alpha vampire's been talking with them, he's been like, he extended his nail and has been breaking the leather strap. So
Distract him.
Yeah, of course he's gonna get out.
There's never gonna be a time where he didn't get out, like, honestly.
Yeah.
So Dean's kind of right in his, like, gun-ho attitude sometimes, but also they did just find out, like, a bunch of information that is really useful. So, you know. Basically, like, yeah, Dean confronts Samuel, like, why are you even doing this? He doesn't really give him an answer again. Then Gwen turns up and points her gun at Dean. He says, Gwen, I thought we had something special. Then, of course, that timing-wise, the alpha vampire escapes. Like, it's all very horror movie. Like, the lights go down, and then he's gone. And we just hear people, like, screaming in the distance, and, like, bones gripping, like, ah! Crunch, etc. So, as he's eating people to get, like, you know, juiced back up again, Dean, Samuel, and Sam are all together, and they're like, crap. They obviously need to get the alpha vampire, like, dosed back up with dead man's blood and back into the cage. And he's just like, no. He's like, we take that thing's head off, or it's going to kill us all. Like, come on, man. You know this. You're a hunter.
Yeah.
And then says the worst plan possible. Let's split up.
But they do it anyway.
You know, you get a shot, you take it, like, it's not going to kill him, but he will move slower without kneecaps. He's like, you make it through this, we're going to have a family meeting, which is great as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's more, like, people getting murdered in the background.
So it's just quiet. There's no Like they're just as they're searching.
Oh, I thought
they
there
don't
was
hear
like
anything.
cracking and like meh still. Oh, there's proper like predator vibes of like you're
Yeah.
right. The alpha vampire sort of like. Does he come right up to Sam? Like, is this what happens?
No, so because I'm not sure who. I can't remember the breaking off of groups. But somehow Christian, I guess it's Christian and Sam.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Together, and then Samuel and Dean. And so we're focused on Christian and Sam. I don't know. It was really, I don't really remember this part very well. But basically the alpha vamp, like Christian asks, oh, do you think the vampire is gone? And then he's like, the vampire like pops up in front of him, snaps his neck.
Yes, that's right. Christian gets like,
And Samuel's there, so I just don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There's murder.
I don't remember. Like I said, I don't remember the groupings. I thought they were, maybe it was 3 and 2. So maybe it was Gwen and Dean together, and Samuel and Sam and Christian together.
But basically, like out of it, like Christian gets murdered. The alpha vampire has this whole spiel with Sam about like how he would make a great vampire, which we touched on like originally.
I've got big plans for you. It's amazing how that pesky little soul gets in the way. But not for you. You will be the perfect animal.
Christian stands back up with black eyes.
Right.
And stabs him in the back of the neck with the demon blood, and then like a whole bunch of other demons pop up and grab the vampire, and away
Yes, I remember now. You can continue this bit if you like. You've let it little Crowley.
Sure, I'll do this bit. So we follow a transcript when we're doing these, and the person who wrote this one left out like big chunks of this episode.
I mean,
so that's
we're
why
grateful for
like,
when they do them, to be honest, because like it
Yeah,
saves
I
me
know.
writing pages and pages and pages of dialogue.
yeah,
Which
Yes.
is what we used to do.
I remember when we tried it at the
Yeah.
the beginning. No, it didn't work out. And then we hear this slow clap, and it's Crowley. He's like, well, that was dramatic. Samuel is like, bring Christian back now. And he, the nephew, the one you just crammed a demon into. And Crowley's like, oh no, he's been possessed for ages. Like, I keep an eye on my investments. And Dean's like, whoa, wait, you know each other? And Crowley says, not in a biblical sense, more of a business relationship, I'd say. I do love Sam in this part, apart from one line that he says, and I'm just like, ugh. Because he says,
You're Crowley's bitch. It's not what you think.
I don't remember what Samuel's motivations are, but I feel like it's probably Mary related or his wife related.
I don't remember either. Yeah, but like, because Cass is involved as well, I think that's maybe something to do. Is it like to do? I will probably be wrong on this. Is it not to do with the fact that, like heaven is all segregated? So he's like, oh, if you do this, I'll put you with your wife or whatever, and Mary, because they're not all together,
I think
right?
So. Yeah.
It could not be that. But it's good enough motivation.
Mm-hmm. And we already know that it's segregated because Dean has already like been with Ash, and they've kind of gone all through that. Yeah. So Crowley is explaining his plan. You get an alpha, you grab me an alpha, you get a gold star. Like he's all this smarmy businessman thing.
Since when do you give a crap about vampires?
Since, what's the day, Friday? Since, let's see, mind your business.
Such a great line. He's so like, ugh. And Sam reveals that like they know that he's looking for purgatory, and Crowley wants purgatory because it's real estate, and that he wants to get purgatory and make it hell. Like he just wants it.
But that's not the reason, though, is it?
Wait, no, it's not really the reason, but that's kind of the reason why it's like
it's half the reason. It's
to pacify them.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason's like season 7, basically. So Crowley says, "Start your job. Employees don't question management," which you absolutely should. But anyway, and he's like, "You're not. We ain't your employees." And he's like, "Of course you are. Like, you have been for some time now, thanks to Gramps. Samuel knows things. That's why he brought him out of heaven, because he knows things that, like, he's a walking encyclopedia of the creepy and crawly."
You two are so hung up on family loyalty nonsense. He said jump, you get froggy.
Which begs the question, like, why didn't he just bring John back?
Because Samuel knows more than
You're
John.
right. But, like, for emotional damage, definitely should just put John back.
They wouldn't listen to John.
You don't think so?
I don't think.
No?
No, I don't. I think they've moved past being so I don't see Dean, like, slipping back into, like, soldier role after, if John came back. Also, I think people just don't like John, so I don't think it would be very good to have him on screen.
I don't know, to be fair to John's character as well, I don't think he'd go for it. He'd be like, no, screw you, demon.
Yeah. They also probably don't know where John is.
Yeah, we don't. He's just a floaty ball of light.
So Carly threatens them and says, "If you want to see Sam's soul again, you'll do as I say." And Samuel says that he pulled both Sam and Samuel from their respective places. And Dean's saying, "Well, that's not possible. Like, Cass says that you need so much strength and you're just, a punk-ass crossroads demon." And Crowley's like, I was one. Now I'm the king of hell. I've got the mojo. I snap my fingers. Sam gets his soul back. Or I can put him back in the hole. And I can't imagine what it's like in there. And I can imagine so many things. So he says, "Are we clear? Me, Charlie, you, angels. Job simple. Bring me creatures. Aim high on the food chain. Everybody wins. It's been a pleasure. See you soon." And he vamooses.
Vamooses, I like that.
And so Gwen is there and he's like, "You're letting demons call the shots." And Samuel tries to defend it. We hunt and that's it. We're hunting. And he tells Gwen to get in the van, and she does. Like, she kind of puts a little bit of a resistance, but not really. Then Sam says,
Working with a demon, huh?
and I paused it at this moment. I was like, season 4,
Season 4, Sam.
you cannot say nothing. Nothing. You have no leg to stand on at someone working with demons. You were sleeping with the demon.
Yeah, at least Samuel's not sleeping with Crowley, as far as we know.
As far as we know. I mean, Crowley probably wants that, but it is what it is.
I would loved a reaction shot from Dean at that line, just being like, that's me putting my hands in my air, confused face. Like, my dude.
Right. I was just like, no. 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 Sam then says, "You're not who I thought you were." And Samuel says, "You don't know anything about me," which is true. Like, they've all been, like, sectioned off, like, closed off from each other. They don't trust any of them or anything like that. Dean then tries to, again, get the motivation from Samuel about why he's even doing this and why he agreed. One of them was hair. And Samuel just says, "I got my reasons. And you can, if you're going to make a move, go ahead." Dean says, "Or what?" And Samuel kind of gives up. He's like, "Or nothing. I'm not going to do anything to you, Dean. You boys, you're my family." So this is, like, again, resolving the question of, like, how does Samuel see family? And apparently Campbell's and the Winchesters, very, very similar. They all see him in the same way. Yeah. And then he says, the way I see it, you've got two choices: put a bullet in your grandfather or step aside. And you hear this, like, gun cock, and it's Sam, and he's aimed his gun, and Dean stops him by like pushing it back down to the ground, and he says, you know, get out of here to Samuel. They kind of go back and forth. Sam and Dean go back and forth about what they're going to do next, because they're like, well, we can't work for Crowley. Yeah. And Sam's like, well, I'm not so sure about that. And like, this is what I don't understand. Like, Sam was ready to kill Samuel because he's working with Crowley, and then he suddenly says, we have to work with Crowley.
I know.
Like,
yeah, I know.
What? Maybe he was anticipating Dean wanting to, like, that's what he thought Dean would do, is actually like hurt Samuel. So he was like, let me do it first since I don't have a soul. Like, it doesn't matter. So he was acting like that's what he would.
I don't know. Who knows Sam's motivations, because he's soulless. Like, honestly, he's just not reading. He's just reading the room and going, maybe this is what I should do today.
Yeah, pretty much. And Dean points out, you know, demons bone you every time. Yeah, phrasing. And Sam's like, well, you know, I'm just running the math. Do we really have any other choice? And like pointing out, like, how else would we get my soul back if we don't go through Crowley? I mean, essentially what it boils down to is like they have no other choice. They'll work with Crowley for now until they can come up with another plan, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then we track Crowley down and give that son of a bitch what's coming to him. You with me, Dean?
And the end of the episode.
I didn't hear Dean's answer. Is he with Sam or is he not? Well, he is.
Of course he is. Come on. Of course he is. He's not gonna, like, where's he gonna go?
Unhealthy codependency. It occurred to me while we were doing this episode that Crowley is a dumb, so dumb.
Why?
Because, right, he could have done this whole plan without ever involving the Winchesters, but he's so keen to get their attention and just be like, oh, the boys, that he's like brought them into it. Because are you telling me that there's no other hunter that they could have resurrected other than Samuel Campbell to go and hunt alpha vampires? But no, he has to pick the one hunter that's related to his boy crush Dean Winchester.
But that's it, isn't it? Like, he's just trying to get more time with Dean. Like, you do anything to get more time with your crush.
And he's ruined his own plan because they were so self-involved about Sam not having a soul that if he'd done this whole side gig of like getting alphas and like chewing on souls, they would never have noticed.
True.
Just saying, dum-dums.
Yep. He is a dum-dum, but you know, when you're in love, you do stupid things. That's a line from a movie, right?
Right.
Hercules, I think.
I like Cass is involved, skewing his whole thing. There's all those jealousy dynamics into their little partnership.
Yeah.
So like, basically, what I'm saying, this is all Dean's fault. Yep. Yeah. It just occurred to me, like, there's actually no reason why he has to be involved with any of these hunters. Like, it is just for these reasons.
Right, because there has to be other people who are just as good as Samuel Campbell. Like, I mean, we've already had a Superman moment. Maybe, you know, the Campbells and the Winchesters are just superhuman.
Look, the Superman reference is going to come back and bite you in the ass, and I don't think you remember why. And I'm well excited for this.
Yeah, probably.
I'm well excited for this.
Probably.
Everyone else is like listening to this podcast like, I just remember.
I've just walked right into that one, haven't I?
Definitely have. Yeah.
And yeah. Okay. Well, that's
we'll see.
fun.
I'll bring it back up and be like, So it's all good. Yeah. Like, this episode, I mostly enjoyed the last scene because I really like Crowley. I really like the way they write his lines.
Yes, me too. And I mean, we got everybody in this episode. We got Cass, we got Crowley.
Yeah.
You know,
it's the best kind of episode.
Overall, it's a good episode with people in it, but like, I don't know. It was a lot of words.
I love the low bar of a good episode of Supernatural. It's a good episode if there are people in it. People other than Sam and Dean.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
But yeah, like it's a lot of setting up. They're setting up the whole Purgatory arc, which I am excited for, but we're a long way off yet. Oh my god, we're long.
I know, we got a season in between.
A whole season about hamburgers and cleaning products and dick jokes.
And
dicks! But yeah. So, yeah. I don't have much more to say about this. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we said what we said about Soulless Sam. It doesn't really make sense. I kudos to Jared because he does play it well with what he has, and I feel like it was hard. So,
yeah.
I'm not gonna miss Soulless Sam when he's gone. That's my take of the day.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one. Doing the rewatch, I'm like, nah. Like, I generally enjoy, like, villain characters just because generally they have a kind of an interesting backstory as to, like, how they got there. But how Sam got there was way more interesting.
It is actually, like, what actually happened to him. It's a mystery that has not been solved. I guess that's one of the main mysteries of this season is, like, why doesn't Sam have a soul? Which does take pretty much the whole season to resolve. So, good on that one. I do like it. And then we've got Purgatory being introduced, which is very cool. And I guess it's answering the question of, like, what happens to monsters when they die, because we know heaven and hell exists. So I feel like there's always a question in people's minds. So,
true.
Yeah. And
But it, you know, the funny thing is it adds a layer to their, like, lives that they kind of didn't need, right? Like, they kill a monster, it's dead. Like, who cares what happens next? But now it's just like, oh, I have to think about where these monsters are going now. Like we've talked about where ghosts go after they've died, or like after they've been exorcised and what have you. And, like, you know, they kind of answered it a little bit with a couple of the episodes, but, like, they don't think about it. But now they have this, like, whole other world that they have to worry about. That, like, it is funny how, obviously, this is just how storytelling works in TV, but, like, as soon as Purgatory's existence becomes known, they suddenly can get back and forth there super easily.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as heaven was known, they could get back and forth, not super easily, but, like, there are characters that would be in heaven and on earth. Same with hell. Like, before hell didn't exist. And then they go there, like, every week in like, season 10.
Oh no, we're in hell again. How did this happen, guys?
Exactly.
Oh, darn it. Yeah, I know, it's stupid. But yeah, I agree. It does happen in a lot of TV shows. It just has a place where you can go now. Like Purgatory in season 15.
I mean, it's very much like a video game, like you were saying, that, like, you've unlocked that level. Like, now you can go there.
And they didn't, like, grayscale Purgatory in season 15, which I was so upset about because I feel like that's such an easy camera effect to put on. That, like, when they go back to Purgatory, I was like, why are they walking through this, like, the woods? I didn't clock when I watched it the first time that they're, like, in Purgatory. Because I was like, it doesn't look like Purgatory.
I wonder if it's because it was too close in tone and color as alternate universe world.
I mean, probably. I don't know, but, like, it just, it was just annoying to me. I was like, it doesn't look like it at all.
This is supposed to be Purgatory.
Where is it? Why is it not such a big deal anymore? It looks like, I still think about hell when they went there and, like, it just looks awful. I still think about that sometimes.
I know. I'm dreading but also looking forward to coming back to season 15 just to be like, what is this?
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of what was this, like,
well. So next week we have All Dogs Go to Heaven, which I think is a filler episode.
Oh god,
just by the name of it.
Episode, yeah, fine, I'll do it. I won't be pleased about it.
We'll see how
it's
it goes.
The best episode I've ever watched. Like, I'll be like, oh, I hate this episode, and I'll be like, no, it's the best. There's so much, like, deep character development in this one where Dean can talk to dogs.
Really think so?
I think this is the one, right? This is the one where Dean talks to dogs. Like, honestly,
I think so.
Yeah. Cool. That's an episode that exists.
Yup. And the annoying thing, it's not a new writer, but it's a person who's came on in season 6. He wrote 2.5 Men, and I'm not kind of looking forward to it because 2.5 Men wasn't that good.
I feel like the thing is, like, as a writer, you get what you're given, and they're like, you need to write a story about when the guy who took the dog to me was like, well, I'll do it, but it's not going to be good.
You get what you get.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All
okay,
right.
cool. Looking forward to that. Yeah. Dogs, man.
Yeah.
Woof. Indeed.
Anyway, so you have anything else you wanted to add?
Nothing on this. Nope.
No. All right. So at the end of the episode, we'd like to thank the Pixelagora for his amazing logo art, and if you'd like to purchase it on a sticker or a pen or something, you can go to our Redbubble store and get that somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Or get that, whatever words and things. My brain is melting. We're also all over social media. Come tell me why the Superman reference is bad.
Yeah, do tell her. Or don't. Or like make it up. You know, I know.
Or make it up. I won't. I
know, and you know.
I'm
Annabelle doesn't know.
We are all over social media. We are on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, as Escaping Purgatory Podcast or Escaping Podcast on Twitter. We're also on YouTube.
Yes.
So leave comments.
So this week, we talked a lot about many things. And we also ran some electricity through a man. And that was what happened. So next week, hopefully, we can find our way out. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
That was so dumb.